smell it and taste it.
Okay.
All right. Let's see which one. Okay, so this is my last dry glass, so I'm gonna have to double. I'm gonna reuse this one.
This is actually batch number 6, experimental batch from 4 West Overton.
Okay. And I remember. You know what? I'm excited about this because I think this was the one when Chris was doing this for West Overton. He needed a little bit of feedback. That's good. Before, I don't know if we had this number 6, but I think it was. I remember it being fantastic.
This is using just a touch of chocolate rye.
Oh wow! Okay.
So it's going to lend some smokiness, some earthiness, and that definitely mocha, chocolatey type of.
Is the last remaining one you have in there also one of these West Overton ones that you had going on? Okay, something different. Okay.
This is actually a peated.
Oh wow! Okay. So what did you get? Did you get a hold of some peat at some point at one of these places when you're?
Well, like
or
a
did
lot
you
of places, I bought
that process that way. Okay. All right. So this is the chocolate rye. Is the rye that's a chocolate rye?
Yeah, there's a chocolate.
So it has that the overall on the nose, the underlying. It's that kind of that I don't want to say normal, but your typical white whiskey aroma. That's a little fruity, a little gum. Bubble gum always pops into my mind when I smell white whiskey, and
that's the corn sugars usually.
But there's something over top of this, and I think it's got to be that chocolate. There's something additional. That's got to be that chocolate rye. All right,
which definitely takes. It comes out certainly in the forefront of the
initial
taste.
The initial taste is Oh, and the finish, not just the initial taste, the whole taste
lingers on the
tongue.
tongue.
Yeah, right in the middle, right where the sweetness would be.
And that was a very small amount of
that is a long
chocolate
finish. I feel like I took a sip 10 seconds ago, and I feel like I'm drinking like a chocolate coffee from Starbucks. It's still on the tongue.
Yeah, it definitely lingers, and it only takes a little bit of that to go a long way.
Imagine, that would be one that would be kind of like I don't want to say gimmicky, but like if you could it's almost like if you could get a barrel that you could charcoal the crap out of, right? Like really charcoal the inside, and then age this kind of young, so it stays sweet and everything, and just gets age it young, so it just gets a quick bolt of the goodness from the barrel and things like that, but maintains a lot of this original. It would be a really sweet, chocolatey whiskey that would sell.
This is one of those things where you either love it or you hate it. And
are we still talking about this chocolate one
yes.
here? Okay.
And at the distillery, West Overton, it was split 50-50 in terms of.
I don't think the purists are not behind this.
No.
But the thing is, we're well beyond that. This is we're in a boom. Like we're in a boom of bourbon and whiskey where like you put as much out there because people want to try something different. This would sell.
Yeah,
I wouldn't. Me myself.
It's not an everyday drinker,
but you also wouldn't. Well, I don't think you. If that scenario I gave you, where you only get to make one whiskey for the rest of your life, you're probably not making this. No. Because eventually the boom's going to go away, and then you're stuck making a gimmicky
But a nice
thing.
limited release.
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
Very cool. That is really neat. Well, let's see here. Jeez, I don't have. I'll be right back. I'm gonna go, Chris. You tell him what your last thing is here. I'm gonna go get another glass because I don't want to mix. I'm out of glasses. I'll be right back.
Okay. The last sample that we are going to partake in is a cherry wood smoked whiskey. It's a peated whiskey, and cherry wood was used in the smoking process of the malt.
This sounds amazing.
So I love cherry wood smoked.
I don't think
malt,
I've ever had anything like that before.
and it lends a definite.
So what are the grains in this?
Sweetness
real quick,
and
again?
original taste to the.
What was peat smoked? Was it the barley? I'm sorry.
They used cherry wood to smoke the barley.
They used cherry wood. Oh, so it wasn't aged in cherry wood, or it wasn't like a cherry cask or something. You're saying they smoked cherry wood, okay, to smoke the barley. You said
to smoke the barley.
Now, where did peat come into the process? Was there peat involved?
There's a peated malt in here as well.
When you say peated malt, we still talking barley.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's two.
They just call it malt. It's really a generic term. It's like when you say malt, I mean, it's automatically assumed that you're referring
about
to
a barley.
Barley.
Like in Ireland, if you go to the pub and say, "Give me a pint," it's assumed you're talking about Guinness.
Well, not necessarily, but yeah,
I
but
gotcha.
yeah.
Okay. So there's two different barleys then. There's
three different barleys.
There's
in
three
this.
different barleys in there.
There's
So there's the cherry wood
There's the
smoked
cherry wood
barley.
smoked
There's
barley.
The
There's the
barley.
peated barley, and then there's just a standard
Okay. Malted barley.
Malted barley.
What are the? Do you have any idea? Well, did you made this right? So what are the percentages of those varying barleys?
I would say about 50% cherry wood smoked.
Okay.
And then the other 50 was divided in half between 25 of the regular peated and 25
Regular malted
barley.
Okay. Is there any other grains?
No.
Okay, so this would be like a very interesting Scotch almost.
And
right?
there's an added there's an added couple pounds of pure dextrose.
Okay.
Which is basically just to get the proof up a little bit because it was such a small batch.
Okay.
So you might notice that in the finished product.
Okay.
Not common to use that.
Okay.
By the way, but in a small experimental type of situation, it was used to get the proof up.
Okay.
So we're gonna sample this as soon as I get the cellophane off of it.
I'm excited. Well, I appreciate this, Chris.
You can smell that.
I know.
You guys.
Oh boy, I can't wait to. I see my favorite thing. That's good. And I don't. My favorite thing, like if I have a glass of wine, I appreciate the aroma of a drink so much. I spend so much time nosing a drink. So like, this process has been fun, but this fruity. So it's kind of got that original, like when I think about a White Lightning whiskey, it's got that aroma, but we have no corn and no rye.
No.
This is so interesting because I'm thinking like, first of all, I get fruity. There's no fruit. Then I get that standard whiskey makeup, but it's not. It's like a Scotch in that regard. The peat is there, but it's in the background. If you don't know that you're nosing for the peat, I haven't tasted it yet. Because you told me that there was some peated barley, I can find it. I guess that a lot of that wonderful aroma must be like some of that cherry wood smoking.
Cherry wood smoked, yeah, is that's why I used 50%. So more, obviously half of the.
So where's the
makeup.
coloring coming from this? Was it barreled then?
That's from a three times used American white oak barrel.
Okay. So
Charred.
Everything else we had was unbarreled, right?
Yes.
Okay, so this is the only thing that has been barreled.
Right.
So there is some elements, there is some barrel notes.
And this probably spent 2 months in a very used barrel, much like the
regular size. Are we talking one of those small ones?
Small 2 liter.
So 2 months in a very used. So it's really just adding a nice. I wish. Well, maybe it is common, but boy, like everything that we just sat here and tasted, and I'm like prolonging my final thoughts because I haven't tasted this yet. But drinking stuff like this is so fascinating. I wish that it was more readily available. Things like this, because people go to the store to buy what they know. We know bourbon.
And a lot of it's cookie cutter. I mean,
yeah, and but this is probably a company's like, we're not going to spend a lot of money, because no one's going to buy it because they're not going to know what the hell it is. Because some connoisseur has to go and try this, enjoy it, and then tell a few of his buddies, and that's the only sales we're going to get. But damn, this stuff is really good. As it is. I mean, 4 of these things were unbarreled.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so I'll shut up and finally try this.
Nice.
Oh, I thought you said nice. I gotta sip it again. Hang on. Oh, but the smoke is on the finish. So while it's in the background on the nose, it is the smoke. It was both cherry smoked and peat smoked. So there's 2 levels of smoke. So It is smoky on the flavor, but it's not. Now,
it's not like forest fire smoked.
Oh, you know what? It's funny. Took a sip. It's not on. It doesn't. The smokiness hits you on the finish, but then like 5 seconds later, the tip of my tongue just like exploded in smoke. I think in a good way. Mm-hmm. But it's funny how like the smoke lingers. Let's see here. On the initial taste, it's almost like a light Maker's Mark. It tastes like just simple.
It would be like a young.
Yeah, like
Maker's
a young,
Mark,
yeah, like a
like
young. It tastes like a young Maker's Mark, like up front, like the initial taste. But then all of a sudden, like, oh, there's this. Oh, I got a smoky finish. Oh, the front of my tongue is smoking. Yeah. But in a good way. It's not heavy. But again, just as I'm talking right now, the whole middle of my tongue, like, it's interesting that the smoke, like, comes out of nowhere a few seconds later on this. It's really, really, really fascinating.
And different things.
It's like I'm drinking 2 drinks. Like, I drink it, and it's like I'm having a sip of Maker's Mark. And then it's almost like 5 seconds later, like I just took a shot of Lafroig or something like that. You know what I mean?
And you can
But it's not. But what I love about it, this is what's really nice. Like, you get a peaty Scotch, you bring it up to your mouth, you're already smelling the peat.
Right.
So there's that element. Like, if sometimes, while I don't mind drinking a peaty Scotch, like, I'm so big on aroma that what I smell before I drink. So it's kind of hard to, like, for people that aren't uber crazy about peat, if you're already smelling that smokiness before, but I don't smell that really at all. Like I told you, I had, like, the only way I would know is because you told me.
Right.
It smells fruity.
Yeah, it's in the background because
It's way in the background
because of the cherry wood.
Yeah, but it comes out on the taste like 10 seconds later. This is fascinating. This is really unique.
Different, not traditional by any means.
Oh, hell no.
And it might take on a totally different taste if this would have spent, say, way more time.
Yeah.
In a different barrel. You know
Every
what I mean?
one of these, I can't sit here and say like what my favorite is. I really enjoyed the first thing, which was the apple and grape. That would be just a really sophisticated, nice, enjoyable.
The grappa?
Well, the first thing we had, I think it was grape white. The one.
Yeah,
with
it was
white
90% grape, 10% apple.
Oh,
so that's more of a grappa.
Okay,
which would turn into basically a cognac if you put it in a barrel.
I like cognac, so that would
Me
be
too.
that was nice. That would be a nice sipping drink unbarreled. I wouldn't even barrel that. I'd be happy with it just as it was. I think the apple one that we did next, I liked it. Again, I said that that would be dangerous because it was just really good and sweet and apple tasty.
Yeah,
but yeah, you said it was 140 proof.
That was uncut.
Okay, so I'd probably go with the grappa because that one forces you to sip a little more because it's complex.
And this is the other one, the whiskey base.
So then the third thing we had was the fourth. I think the fourth thing was the chocolatey. So what was the third thing? That one I completely have very little memory about that one now.
The whiskey base.
The whiskey base.
Yeah, that was the one that was made with black peppercorn.
Oh, that one was unique. Yeah, okay, I remember that one. That was very unique. It's very complex, very different because of that black pepper. That changed. I can't even compare that to anything. It was so different. The chocolate one I said would be a very. I mean, honestly, that would sell as a gimmicky like chocolate whiskey. I would call it something better. Like if you could come up with a fancier name,
there's a
like
few out in the market.
Mocha Frappuccino whiskey. And serve it with baristas with aprons on. It would sell.
Maybe get Starbucks.
Yeah, I was gonna say you should probably
it.
you should probably head out to Starbucks and hit them up, and then this at the end, it was so interesting. This would be for. I mean, gosh. A Scotch lover would like this. So people that like peat, people that like smoked whiskey would like this. People that just like Maker's Mark. I mean, like, because no matter who it is, it's basically going to be something that you like, but have a different element.
Right.
So it's kind of like, oh, I like peated Scotches.
It's not so Scotchy tasting that it may turn someone off and be like, well, you're technically drinking a Scotch-like product.
Yeah.
You know?
It's going to be something that smells fruity, that tastes like a Maker's Mark, and then just has like a lingering smokiness on the tongue. But it's not really a smoky taste. It's not smoke going down the throat.
Right.
It's just like all of a sudden it's almost like someone lit my tongue on fire. 10 seconds afterwards, my tongue started smoking. So, anyways, Chris, I really, 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 really enjoyed this. I had a lot of fun. Thank you for your patience. I know this was probably our longest podcast to date, but I mean, hey, we're drinking whiskey and having fun.
We could just go on and on.
Yeah. So Chris and I, we were talking about. I think we'll try to do a part 2. We'll find another topic. I kind of want to do. At some point, I was thinking about doing a podcast about bourbon versus Scotch. We touched upon that a bit tonight, but maybe we'll find another topic within whiskey, bourbon, Scotch. We'll do another podcast, but we kind of bypassed the barreling process just because I just think it's like it's not a Pandora's box, but it's like a door that if we opened, we'd be talking for another hour. So I think I'll invite Chris back, and if you guys are open to that, and we'll do another whiskey, bourbon, Scotch, cognac distilling topic. We'll learn a little bit more, but we'll get into more of the barreling process at that point. So, Chris, thank you very, very much. I hope you had as much fun as I did.
Well, thank you, Fred, and I think we're going to be moving on to a cigar here
Yeah,
shortly.
we're going to go have a cigar after this. So, Everybody, thank you for tuning in. Have a great night, and keep following the Reality Fred podcast. Thanks a lot.